if you want to support the show, any of the shows, either this or whichever show, I'm not on right now because this is just a blanket ad for all of them, and the website, you can go to bewareofspoilers.com. In the description for any of the episodes of Beware of Spoilers, there is the option to donate. If you don't want to donate that way, you can donate directly through the website. We do have that, mwpnews.com. And if you don't want to support that way, then going to mwpnews.com will help out because we have ads there. We don't want to keep it, where there's a lot of ads. There's a few ads. But the point is, we want to make it so that way, we can sustain this for the long term. If people donate, we're never going to paywall anything, I don't think, as of right now. But you know, if people start donating, we'll start doing cooler and cooler stuff. Like donations are how we get to cover stuff like Tribeca and other, film festivals. And, we may be able to bring on more people to help out. So if you want to help out the show and you want more content from us, by all means, uh, even just going and giving us a 5-star rating on Spotify helps out a lot. But that's it. That's the only ad we'll have on the podcast ever. But here's whatever podcast you're going to be listening to. Good morning, and welcome to the Backlog Files. I am Adam, continuing our quest to rank every Pokemon game. Which I think we've gone pretty well. We're almost halfway there. Because we were, like, if it's going to take 14 months to do this at 1 week at a time, and granted, part of it is I fucked up the thing because I missed a week or two here or there. But yeah, I think we're like 2 weeks behind. So we're looking at like mid-February. So if mid-February, assuming no other game comes out between now and then, which, let's talk about this a little bit, because, like, Nintendo's going to have another Direct this year. Nintendo's going to have a big Direct in June, they said, for games that are going to be for the rest of 2024. So, the Switch is in its dying days. I don't want to say dying, that sounds wrong, but in its waning days. It's like, we know the days for the Switch are numbered. So, the question is, what are you going to put out on the Switch that is a good thing to sell this holiday season, if you're going to sell anything? We've seen a lot of remakes, which later this week we talk about the remake of what's it called? We talk about the remake of Thousand Year Door, but we also have Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon next month, and we've had Princess Peach Showtime, which felt like a more of a tech demo of a game than a game itself. So all of that said, the question is what comes next, and I do think that at the end of this year we could get. I think the easiest assumption is Pokemon, not Pokemon, Legend of Zelda, Wind Waker, and I think Skyward Sword is the one that hasn't been ported yet. Those two are the easy option. I do think there is another Pokemon spin-off somewhere down the line. Or they could stealth release like Black and White remake. And be like, okay, well, here you go. Like, this is a third-party studio did it again. It's the same thing as like, what's it called? It's the same thing as like Diamond and Pearl, Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. But I think what's more likely is we get like a director's cut of Explorers of Time and Darkness for the Switch. And that's kind of where it leaves off. Or an entirely new Mystery Dungeon game. But regardless, that's not what we're here to talk about today. What we're here to talk about today is Pokemon Ranger, which was the first time that Nintendo really, or the Pokemon Company, really played with the general, the new gimmicks that came with a Nintendo console. Because this is the first time that we got one, really. The DS had touchscreens. And because the DS had a touchscreen, the DS then had the ability to, do... Oh, fuck me. Where was I? Yeah, because the Switch had a touchscreen. And that was the big, not the Switch, I'm sorry, the DS had a touchscreen. And that was the big new addition, was that it's like you had these two screens. The top screen had, just a screen, and then the bottom screen was a touch screen. So here we get into some of the gimmickier stuff, where it's like we're going to use the touchscreen in a way that we wouldn't, to do new gameplay mechanics. And the new gameplay mechanic here for Pokemon Ranger was that you would, instead of catching Pokemon traditionally, where you would battle them, throw a ball, and catch them that way, you had this thing called a styler, because it was like the stylus. And what you would do is you would draw circles around the Pokemon you were trying to catch, and the Pokemon would try to escape, but you would use abilities from various other Pokemon that you have caught to defeat it. So like the fighting type, it was like double your length of your line. You had your starter, which was plusle if you played as the boy. I think you had a minus if you played as the girl, who would stun. I think ice would put an ice block around them to keep it from moving. But that was the general concept. And I think one of the interesting things about this game to this day is how much it looks different from other Pokemon games. And not in the, like, this is something that they could have done in a similar style to the mainline games. But the character models look more fleshed out. They look more, not, I don't want to say more human, but they're taller, and the world looks more, not realistic, but more accurate, to what could be reality in this world. Like, it has a very unique style while still being uniquely Pokemon. I think the gameplay is fun. The gameplay loop, no pun intended, is fun, and it is something that, requires a little bit of skill as you get later in the game, and it rewards you for learning how to play the game and learning different type combinations that help out in certain situations. So this is definitely one of those things where it's like, this is a fun thing to go back to. Um, I I'm trying to think about, like, that said, I do see why this has kind of gone the wayside, and it's not just that touch controls in games have not been well received recently. Um, Now that should be what puts ranking this so hard. I don't remember much of the story, and the other big thing about Ranger that really helped move it was that this was the only way to get Manaphy and then by extension Fion in what was that in Diamond and Pearl. There was a Manaphy egg mission built into Ranger, and if you completed that mission, you got the Manaphy egg, and you could transfer that egg to Diamond and Pearl. When you had the Manaphy egg, you could then breed Manaphy once you had it with a Ditto, and then you would get a Fion, and that was the only way to get this Pokemon. Um, but that said, the hard thing to do with this ranking is where would I put it, and I don't think this game is one where I would pay full retail for in this day and age. So I would put it in it wouldn't be a 5. I could see it in 4. So let's start with 4. Is it better than Pinball Ruby and Sapphire? I would say no. I think the gameplay is fun, but it's not a game I could jump into and out of. And then the question is, do I think it's better than Crystal? Do I think it's better than Gold? Do I think it's better than Yellow? I would put it above Yellow, above Gold and Silver, and above Crystal. So this will be the new number 8, Ranger. So now we're at 20. Let's start down at the bottom and go through our list. Number 20, we have Hey You Pikachu. Number 19, we have Pokemon Pinball. Number 18, we have Pokemon Channel. Number 17, we have Pokemon Puzzle Challenge, Pokemon Puzzle League. Number 16, we have the trading card game. Number 15, we have red version and blue version. Number 14, we have Stadium. Number 13, we have Stadium 2. Number 12, we have Snap. Number 11, we have yellow version. Number 10, we have gold and silver. Number 9, we have Crystal. Number 8, we now have Ranger. Number 7, we have Pinball, Ruby, and Sapphire. Number 6, we have Fire Red and Leaf Green. Number 5, we have Coliseum. Number 4, we have XD, Gale of Darkness. Number 3, we have Ruby and Sapphire. Number 2, we have Emerald. And number 1, we have Mystery Dungeon, Blue Rescue Team, and Red Rescue Team. Which I think is a great place to leave off. Our next episode will be Trozy, Pokemon Trozy. And then after that, we have Pokemon Dash. And then we get into Gen 4 with Diamond and Pearl, with Platinum, and then Heart Gold and Soul Silver, taking us through the month of June. In terms of other things we have coming up this week, we will also be doing our review of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, the remake for the Nintendo Switch. We also intend to do. We're going to be covering out of the Tribeca Film Festival. Their game showcase. They have a bunch of indie games. We're going to try them out, and we're going to report back with what cool things we have. That's going to be a cross post between here and 30-minute reviews. So we try to get more listeners. But we'll be covering the Tribeca Film Festival. We'll be doing that for that. But we'll be talking about that in about 2 weeks. We'll give exact dates and times for that episode. I think it's going to end up going up on Sunday. But we'll wrap up there for today. And until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.